Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to TeamODZ Live. And it's Friday, and it's morning, and we're here.
It is.
Hey, Rick,
We are. Hey,
with your squirrel
look at
hat
us.
and your squirrel socks, a Zwift swivel hat, and your Zwift swivel socks. I can't even say that.
Yeah, it's important to always keep the head on a swivel. Or the swivel on the head, I don't know.
Well, this would be a
How
hat
they
on a
say it,
swivel,
but-
wouldn't it?
Well, the hat's on the swivel, which is on the head. Or is it a swivels on the hat, which is on the head?
I don't know. I think we need to ask
It's always
Tiffany.
good. It's always good to keep your hat on a swivel. And your hat on your head. This looks like a nice street.
Yeah,
If you like if you like your neighbors, that is. You gotta like your neighbors on this street. You have no choice but to live with them. I say that, but it's really not like super far off of my street. we are actually talking about yesterday at work because the aluminum fascia cover came off during the first storm that took the power out. But it's so this summer I'm gonna have to get up there on the ladder, which is really high, probably about almost 3 stories up once I get up there because of the foundation. But I said that I wasn't concerned because if I fall on the ladder, like kind of like what's his name did in Christmas Vacation, then I'll just fall back against my neighbor's house and then I can just push myself back over again because they're that close. Not a lot of fans on this flat.
Just the ones pointing at you right now.
I can definitely feel a little bit of extra fatigue from this week.
You and me both after yesterday.
I don't know if it's the right idea at this point in time to fit 3 threshold workouts in a row. I mean, I know it's not supposed to be done like that, but I'm not like incredibly fatigued, but I definitely, when I got up this morning, I sat on the edge of my bed for a little while and just kind of sat there. Usually I bounce right out of bed.
No, we broke hills yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, when I tuned in, it was on hills. That's a tough task to do. Hills does not typically end up off the back. Were you guys going that fast?
I don't think we're that much faster or that much different to what we did when we did the same route in August.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to take every climb.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it seemed to always be that I was pulling just into the climb, more often than not. So, pull into the
No rest
climb,
on the climb.
the inner take over, I get no rest. Yeah.
Sounds like a Zwift swivel even Ian.
Oh.
Just loving the climb.
Yeah, well, I like the climbs myself. My heart rate's 182 going into the climb.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't like about B races, individual races, is the fact that there's a lot of times you get no rest before the climb.
But it was a team, we had fun. We'll do it again next week. But you could turn, man.
It is awfully nice of them to rock and roll on the climbs so that everybody can really draft off of them. That's a total Ian thing to do. All right, guys, keep up. Here we go. I'm gonna rock it up the climb. That's his trainer coming out, and that's the whole keep up with me.
Good morning, Andy.
Hello.
What's wrong with the time of day that I get up and exercise? I heard you called me out for that in a certain chat.
But yeah, this morning at an outrageous time, Andy was on giving kudos to Strava rides. I think it was like 1 in the morning here.
Well, it was
That would
actually
make
one. It was 150. It was 250 here.
I think that's backwards.
Backwards.
They would make it 1250 there. Oh, what's going on the stream?
Oh,
There's a box of Andy above me.
Andy's always on top.
Life is like a box of Andys.
Sorry, I screwed up your carefully positioned brick, haven't I?
That's
My
all right.
apologies.
Hey.
I can turn my video off, doesn't it? Yeah.
No. I didn't have to enable it. I didn't think. Much better to have you with us.
Yes. For some reason, I had a
And-
feeling you were showing up today.
Andy's of the
I
world
don't know why.
unite.
Yeah, 'cause I'd woken up at one point this morning, 'cause my shoulder was bothering me again. And then all of a sudden, I heard my phone just going, whoop, 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 and I was like, don't look at it.
How does it go?
And then finally I was like, oh, I got to see what's going on here. And I saw it was Andy giving kudos. And then I did the math and I was like, well, I guess that's a reasonable time. Oh yeah, I just made the phone sound. Did that even get picked up over the microphone?
I asked you again,
Good.
what sound did it make?
Ah, we made the whoop whoop. There we go. Yeah, I see it. I looked for the green light up now.
My eyes wobbled then.
That's an interesting phone.
Yeah, make sure you turn the base all the way up.
You got going on this weekend, Andy?
Got a track session at the velodrome with Owen on
Nice.
Saturday morning. That's the only thing on the agenda. We should be doing some
luckily-
races this week. Fun.
Luckily, tomorrow seems like a well-placed storm where I will have all the excuses to just not go up anyway.
You need to liberate yourself. You don't need an excuse to not go anywhere.
Yeah, well,
Take control of your life. Choose to be lazy.
you're married, aren't you? It all depends. You know, sometimes it's easy. Other times there's plans that I find out the day of. And then I have to try to play all of my cards properly to try to get out of it.
Like this morning.
Yes. Exactly.
You ride at like 3 o'clock in the morning. What plans can she have? I mean,
Oh, it's
good
amazing. Plans adjust. I'm beginning to wonder if plans aren't made up for my sake.
Come on, thank you, Owen.
All I say is, I know what you're up to. And then I leave it at that. I have no idea what she's up to.
Get it, Owen.
But at least she thinks I know.
can't believe that Owen just gave you a ride on and didn't give me one. So rude.
I think I got one. Hey, Owen.
Andy's feeling left out, Owen. Come on, quick. Get your finger out.
Just missed it.
See, that one works well too. Do I not
Owen.
follow you?
Owen, you always follow me. Normally, because I'm just ahead of you and you can't get past. So you're going to beat me on the flying lap on tomorrow. Because I can't take those corners at full pace.
I was seeing something on my feed about a track racer that was. They were saying something about he hit like 2,200 watts, and I was like, "What? Absurd! That can't be true." And he wasn't exactly going way ahead of the group or anything. I think it was all lies.
The track cyclists are the strongest of the lot.
I guess so.
They do hit 2,000 watts.
If
I
I
don't
hit
have to
12,
carry that mass up any hills, so
they just spend a whole lot of squatting time.
yeah.
They're absolutely freakish to look at. They don't look normal.
So that's why I don't want to be a track rider, because I don't like doing squats. Is it just me, or does anybody else feel like their kneecaps are going to pop off anytime they do a squat? I feel like it's bad for me.
Are you made from Lego or something?
I feel like it. I mean, it hasn't happened.
Strengthen other muscles first.
It hasn't happened yet, but I always get that feeling like, oh, this isn't good for me. But I have never injured myself doing a squat, so I think I might be all right. Maybe I'm just thinking about it too much.
I
You'd
have
like my-
rubbish flexibility, so I struggle to get down.
You'd like my squats, yeah, Rick. You
Yeah.
can do my squats, yeah, easy. Diddly squats.
Diddly squats.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones I usually end up doing. Sometimes I'm all like, all right, today's the day, here we go. And then I do like 5 and I'm like, okay, gonna take a quick breather. And then I just don't do anymore.
I think you just
Something
did,
else
Owen.
comes up.
Owen asks for permission to say you're doing it wrong.
Squats just feel like the
you're only
most.
doing 5. This is going too heavy. Take the weight out.
Well, see, that's the thing
Build
too.
up some strength in around your knees and stability, and then go higher weight.
I've done, I mean, I'm not exactly, now when I talk squats here, not exactly talking like I'm actually squatting on like a squat rack or something. I'm talking like I have 2 25-pound dumbbells and I'm just doing some quick squats.
And a 50-pound bag
holding
of
those
sand.
to my side. Well, actually, yeah, I tried that too. That was a little better, but yeah, it just feels so weird. But I mean, I don't feel like I'm in damage of hurting myself. I do feel like I can do it. Just for some reason, I get 5 in and I stop.
I'm often like that. I feel like I can do it, but I just choose not to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those
I
things.
could win this race. I just choose not to. It'd be
Yeah.
greedy.
Oh no, that never. See, that never happens. Well, actually, yeah. I think I need to get a squatting partner in order to do squatting. I need another person to turn it into a squat race.
Yeah, that's not a
Based on
recipe
adding
for
the local
disaster, is
page
it?
of that text.
I think you need to challenge Grace.
Looking for a squatting partner. Actually, that'd be a good idea. She needs to do more squats. We just need to get on the same workout schedule. Back when I used to do more brewing, it was always nice because we don't have an auger to put the grain in. So instead you take the big sack of grain, which I think is about 50 usually, and it's supposed to be, and then carry those up the stairs to the top of the mash tun. That
Only
was
one at
always
a time.
big workout. Well, it depends, you know. The funny part though is when you invite someone who you're doing a collaboration with to come over, and they always want to pour the grain in and get their picture. And I think we've only had one person who showed up, did it, and poured it right in. The rest of them, they look like they're holding a bass guitar, and they're standing on their toes, and they're trying to get it up to the top of the mash tun. Looks pretty good. But yeah, most breweries, they just have an actual auger, but they dump it into the hopper, or it's already in a silo, and then
Like an
it just
Archimedes
goes up.
screw.
Yeah, and then they just push a button, and it stirs in and everything for them. We do have rakes that serve for us, but we didn't have room to put in a silo or to put in the hopper. So we were like, well,
You're
I guess we're
wearing a
gonna wear
hairnet while you're walking around the brewery and putting in things.
a hairnet. Why would we wear a hairnet? That's absurd.
Do not get your hair into the product.
It's all flavour. It's
Oh,
all
no,
flavour.
It's fine.
Alcohol will kill anything. It's fine.
You've,
Protein
what
beer.
next?
you've heard hair of the
What
dog.
next?
We've got hair of the Rick.
What next? You're gonna say we should be wearing shirts? Come on. That's crazy. Brewing is one of those processes where you don't need to wear stuff like that because everything is filtered out along the way. Like everything in the mash that isn't liquid all just ends up going to the farm. So really, as long as it's not poisonous, it can end up in the mash and then it'll get boiled off in the kettle afterwards.
But I'm concerned about the pigs that have to eat up your hair afterwards.
Oh no, they love it.
Pigs love human flesh, don't they? That's how you get rid of bodies, isn't it? By throwing them
Yeah,
in
they-
the dies.
Yeah, we can get any part of our body in there. Lose a finger, it's fine.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a story for the tourists, but I was at a whiskey distillery and they were doing like a tour and telling a story. And they had an old corrugated iron roof, and the pigeons
Yep.
could get in. And like for like 100 years, pigeons had roosted in the beams of this distillery.
Yeah.
And they replaced the roof eventually, and the flavour of the whiskey changed,
Wow,
and they got
how about
complaints.
that?
Yeah. So you wonder what was ending up in there, but
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, it's all sanitized after it's been distilled out. But yeah, flavor. I mean, flavor is a thing that stays. I wonder how that affects the mash too. Because I mean, their mash, they sour the mash, so that's sitting around fermenting for a few days. So I'm sure you pick up a lot of flavor characteristics from whatever your surroundings are. Whereas in beer, you don't ferment in the mash, so by the time it starts fermenting, you're in a completely enclosed vessel that's sanitized. And then the idea is to keep the beer as enclosed as possible from that point on until someone opens it to drink it. Like our target is, by the time it gets into the can, there should be no more than 50 parts per billion of oxygen
And no hairs.
and no hairs. Tough part is the cans, though. Because the
that was a
cans,
perfect
when
job
they
for you,
show up,
Andy.
said no one ever really, though. But if you ever want to meet the most miserable person in the world, just talk to anyone who works on a packaging line. The only time they'll tell you different is if they're at the end of a run and they've had a couple beers.
Basically, the most miserable person is someone packing beer on a production run. The end of
Aye.
dry January.
Yeah, that's true. So far, we haven't done much can packaging this month. It's all just been kegs and working on projects. Believe it or not, dry January gets slow.
You have to stockpile for February, well, for the end of January when everyone falls off the bandwagon. And then February
I was
when
gonna say,
everyone
oh, yeah.
just starts drinking
Because
3 times as much.
Yeah. You would think February is just a big boom time, but nope. We don't see it until April usually. Once it starts to get the idea of warm around here, which just means pretty much that the temperature is over 40 and the sun's out, then all of a sudden we get busy. And we'll get busy right when the students get back too, which is next week, I think. They come back with all that Christmas money and maxing out their Pell Grants, getting their big check that's supposed to go towards books and spending it on beer instead.
Spending it on an education of some sort.
Only to pay it back at a high interest rate later, regretting every decision they made in their 40s. Yeah, it's kind of tough with a lot of kids, with someone in their early 20s, especially if they're doing it on their own, to be like, you can get this extra money out, you know, just to kind of take care of your living for a little while. And then they go, what? Yeah, send that to me. I'll deal with that later when I have my high-paying job.
I use my student loan to buy bikes.
I bought a generator.
Nice.
I said he had a mate who did 31 days without alcohol a couple of years ago. And he managed to finish it about mid-May. No. And yeah. In what, 25 years now?
It's a long time.
Yep.
Would you say it's a habit not drinking now at this point?
I don't miss it.
That's the thing. Once you go enough time without it, you don't miss it.
Well, and it's
Until
no longer impressive either.
Right.
You know, if someone says I've done 3 months without alcohol, that's like, well done. If someone gets done 25 years without alcohol, you're like, so
Yeah.
what? You know, you clearly don't like it. You've got over the hump. You've done the half bit. You don't get any credit for past the first year, I'm afraid.
There is a lot of truth to that. Yeah, I do the whole reset period every so often, where I'll go a couple weeks without, and then once I get back into it, then it's like 1 beer. But then gradually it turns into more than 1 beer, and then I do it again.
And I bake the beers. I mean, work at a brewery.
Well,
You just make
and
your
that's
own
where-
bottle that's like this big.
That's
Just
where
take
the
a keg.
excuse.
Yeah, it's just
It
one
starts
beer,
with a
love.
small glass. It always starts with the small glass, and I finish it, and I'm like, okay, on to water. And then eventually it turns into a mug,
Yeah, but you've got
and
another.
then some water.
You've got boozy water now, though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're still in the works on that one. I did try a little bit of that yesterday, and it's much better than the first batch, but still not there yet. In other words, I wouldn't drink it. But yeah, boozy water.
Felt with 2 R's.
The biggest trick with that right now that we're finding is it needs to be ultra filtered. But you have to use charcoal filters, which cost a lot of money. So we're gradually trying to filter it more and more to try to make the cost as low as possible. But you have to wait until there's a new batch before you can try that. So it's taken a while. And you still have to sell all the, all the stuff that you're choosing to sell. Which this batch is good enough to sell in-house, but it can be better. I just know it.
You just have to devise a very colorful label with some funny words on it. That's the American way of saying it.
Yes. Don't worry about what's inside.
Well, you just label
drinking the
the
label.
you're meant to drink the beer, and you just have the bad stuff as like beer 4 on.
Yeah.
One non-alcoholic
very-
stout here called Hairless Dog.
Yes. Yeah, because that one, don't they have another stout that has the alcohol and it's like hair of the dog or something like that?
I don't know.
I feel like I remember that.
Hair of the dog is a drink you take when you've got a hangover.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I know about that one. Yes. Yeah, one of the toughest things to do around here is, one, name a beer, and two, come up with a label for it. Because like it's to the point where you just go into a store and there's just a whole wall of beer. And I just don't even go over there anymore, really. It's just-
Oh, Rick, I might know
overwhelming.
where there's a graphic designer that's looking for a first gig.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, at this
Have
point
you
we
got
have
like a
two different
consistent
ones.
brand identity in terms of across all the labels? Or is it
Yeah.
quite random?
Yeah, it's I mean our logo is the same, and then we just changed what's behind that. We've
But
got
is
a
it
guy
kind of
doing it
consistent
for free.
in terms of you could look at it without being able to see
Yeah,
what it says and know that
you
it's
would know
one of
it's
yours.
Marsh Island. Yeah,
I think 30 years ago they slightly changed the font of Carlsberg on the Carlsberg label, and there was an outcry.
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of
I couldn't
It's for a
find it
while
on the
there.
shelf.
for a while there, the market was
Yeah.
trending towards like pre-COVID. It was trending towards a new beer every week and a new label for that beer, and then after a while, you could tell like some of these breweries, it was like, this isn't a different beer. It's just a different label. What's going on here? But now it's definitely seems like it's trending a little more towards, first of all, flavors. Adding as many flavors to beer as possible is the ones that sell the fastest. And I think just having your brand stand out on the shelf at this point, especially for a brewery like us where like we had a moment of small hype when we first opened, and then now we've just stayed consistent with just trying to produce the good beer that people keep coming back to, and we don't get too many of there's a whole community of people chasing beer around still. I don't get it.
Do you have a tap room on site?
Yeah, we rely on that one. Distribution really doesn't get you much money. The margins end up pretty low. Tap rooms you can sell it for less than retail in the stores and still make a very good margin on it. And being right in a university town, then there isn't usually a shortage of customers.
Yes. pulled and tipped to go to the tap bar rather than an actual
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah, and there's three of them.
As long as you've got the brewery in a place where people can get to, that's generally
Yeah,
the problem.
yeah. And we are right on the main street, so it's pretty easy. But we are, so Marsh Island is the island where the university's on, and then it's essentially an island because the river branches off and goes around the island. And so we're not on Marsh Island, but we are right before the bridge. We're like right on the river's edge. And then Marsh Island's across the river. And pretty much we took that name because right before we opened, this place called Orono Brewing Company opened. They took the name of the town. And we were trying to come up with names. And eventually the owner was just like, Marsh Island, that's it, that's the name. We're like, but we're not even on it. Okay, sure, we'll take it. But yeah, so all the student housing is on that side, so they do have to travel over a little bit, but during the summer, it's a migration point, that bridge that we're right next to. So you'll just get hordes of college students just walking in large groups and invading every drinking spot.
Stephen King ever come in?
No, he lives in Florida. He might have, actually, you never know. Because he does, he went to the University of Maine. And so,
You wear a
usually when he's
disguise
here
then, or
during the
what?
summer,
You
he
don't
tends
know.
to do, yeah, I have no idea. I'm not there enough. But yeah, he usually tends to do something with the university whenever he's here during the summer. So he might stop in. He's also kind of a guy that does his own thing though. He's not what you would call like the most normal of men. I don't know if you've read his books, but it's all right there.
See what I can do this sprinting.
He also doesn't drink anymore. That's the other thing too. Forgot about that part. He used to be big on the drinking and whatnots and all of the other things when he was younger. And I think he's been sober for a long time. Since the 90s maybe or something.
Story gets more and more scary.
That's slower. Guess Swift must have slowed you down on that sprint.
I am only doing 140 watts right now.
Since you're the only one I know, Rick, that is using the Garmin app, I saw yesterday that it's in for complete revamp. The user interface will change completely.
Does that mean
I
my
use it.
VO2 is going to go down? Does that mean I'm going to end up way lower?
I don't know. I don't think so. Don't
Just the UI.
PC Rainmaker has a video about it.
No, nice. sometimes I I question the VO2 on that, but then other times I'm like, oh, well, yeah. Sometimes I feel like I can push enough to have that VO2 long enough. Just sometimes when it changes my VO2 out of nowhere, I do a threshold workout 2 days in a row and bam, up 3 points.
When you do that and it goes down 3 points, you wonder what's going on.
That's also happened before.
Yeah.
But that could be, I mean, sometimes I also wonder, like right now, not drinking, it knows altogether that I'm doing a little better.
Why would
But
that
this is
be?
like, my cycling VO2 is back up to right around where it was during the summer right now, after 2 days at threshold. Plus, now that I don't have any beers after work, I've gone from drinking a gallon or so a day to 2 gallons a day. I still pee just as much as I used to.
Thanks for that insight.
Coupled with the beans.
Is it any coincidence that the waters are at flood levels around here right now? I don't think that's me. Right? Couldn't be.
Has to come from somewhere. This is why we don't have power cuts over here. The land would flood in 2 days or something if we didn't have the pumps running.
Do they have batteries?
No, they have a steam-driven one. It works on coal. That's about it.
That's... Yeah. I saw what happened in New Orleans.
Really thought about it. The Netherlands are really like Jarvis Island, aren't they? You got any glass tunnels?
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, wow, this island is really relying on those walls pretty hard. All you need is one mistyping of code and that thing's flooding.
Alright, I'm doing another coffee stop, which I'll get in 8.5 minutes and then I'm done. Struggling. Gotta leave the air yet.
Thank you, Andy. At least you love me.
Oh yes, you're welcome. You've earned it.
How am I going? Are you still here, Owen?
Owen's still there. Oh yeah, Owen's still there.
Oh,
He's,
there he is.
he's risking auto mod.
I was going to ask him, what do you reckon we're going to be racing tomorrow? What event? Can't remember what we did on the first day. Next year.
This is like watching the spinning wheel when you ask Siri a question. There's, I don't think any of those races, flying lap, kilometre ITT, I'm having a look at last year.
Do people squeak pretty hard when they go down? Is it like when you trip on a basketball court? Just skin on,
Wearing rubber.
unpolished, skin on waxed wood.
It's normally drowned out by the sound of carbon and
Ah, oh yes, that's true. Yeah, you also have the falling bikes.
Mine says apparently he giggles while he's sliding off the track.
Right. I would imagine there'd be something fun to it if you can embrace it.
That begs the
It's all
question,
right,
does it
you know?
does it happen a lot, Owen?
If you get in the right, if you hit the ground and get in the right tuck position and just slide down the embankment. I can just imagine fetal position Owen just jiggling the whole way down to the center.
You managed to spoon it during cool down last year. Al came up with me afterwards. He said he'd never seen anyone laughing me crash before.
Oh man.
oh, I had some time off the bike hill and Andy's got miles ahead of 78.
Yep. Yeah, managed it just before we crossed the line on the TPT yesterday.
Those brake levers, the shifters behind your head, Are those UCI rated?
Well, they haven't sent me one of their measuring jigs yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
They're not in that far, so I imagine they're within the whatever degrees it is they said.
Owen says, yeah, session 3 last year was flying lap and then kilo. So how far apart in miles have you and Owen and Andy?
Yeah, we need it specifically in miles.
Well, so
Or actually, could you give that to me in feet?
I asked my wife and kids how far it is to something, and they'll tell me in minutes. No, that's not how far
Right,
it
but
is. That's how long it takes
the
to get there.
international- That's an international measurement tool. Everybody
That
understands.
is
an hour
exactly
drive.
what Swift does.
So basing on Alton, which I don't know exactly how close he is to Alton, but 34 miles, 35 miles on the road.
So not far.
Not a straight line. You
So
think
that's
the road
not as the crow flies.
Do crows
they
really
say.
fly straight? That's the
What do
question.
crows say? Do crows say as the crows fly?
Because crows, they say, caw, caw.
I think it should be as the cyclocross racer goes, because that's used to be what cyclocross races were. It was between two steeples of churches. You used to race from one village to another in a straight line.
So it'd be like three steeples.
Coffee stop. Go to 57 and then pull it. Oh no, it's a timed event. I'm not going to get it in, am I? We've got a minute and a bit of it now.
I have 29 minutes to go. But yeah, I mean, the time measurement is the international measurement, but the only problem is then it's like, well, how fast are you going? Then you have the hiccup.
It's only
Exactly.
the international measurement because the US hasn't invented some other form of time that only they use.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I'd rather have the distance, and I can calculate how long it's going to take myself based on average speed.
Yeah.
Why
But then
I
you
asked
also
how
have to
far.
factor in. You have to factor in stoplights.
Traffic.
How many stoplights are on the way?
It depends on the question. It's how far or how long.
Right, well, I always ask how far, and I always get a how long.
I actually thinking how long is normally more useful. maybe.
In Maine, since we only have one interstate highway, or one main one, with little offshoots, but typically if you're going from one larger city to another, it's a general 70 mile per hour or so measurement. So you can say, Portland is about 2 hours away. For me, it's about an hour or 40 minutes away.
My coffee stop's gonna.
An hour and 40 minutes and 2 citations.
Oh, they don't pull people over here.
Huh. My coffee stop's still working.
You have to really be showing off how bad you're not following the rules to get pulled over here.
Yeah, you just have to do 1% too fast on a specific stretch, then they will clock you, send them in.
See, the problem is because Maine's so remote in much of the state, then the state police have to also do policing in some areas. So when
as
you see them
opposed
on
to
the highway,
what?
well,
Money
I mean,
making.
usually you have
Profit.
sheriffs or something, but some of these areas, the sheriff, there's like one sheriff for 200 square miles or something, and so then the state police help out too. So usually when they're on the interstate, they look like they're waiting to pull someone over, but really they're just like, I need a break. Been driving all over this town, settling domestic disputes. I just want to relax for a little while. Unless if they're not. And then when that happens, then you get pulled over. But usually they don't do anything. I've tested it a few times.
We wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't said to ourselves, go for it.
Sorry, what pardon?
Huh? Oh, sorry, what pardon? I did have one time a few years back where I was driving home later in the evening. We had stayed at my wife's friend's house for longer than I wanted to. I kept dropping the hint. We kept not leaving. Finally, when it's time to go, I'm like, I'm getting home. I want to go to bed. So I'm cruising along at a pretty good speed. It was like 80, 85, 70 miles per hour there. And as I go by an exit, all of a sudden here comes a state police car getting onto the interstate right next to me. And I'm like, whoa, what do I do now? I mean, I don't want to just slam on the brakes because now I've pretty much pled guilty. But he also knows how fast I'm going. So I just eased off the gas and he flashed his lights for just a second. And then I slowed down and then we just carried on our way. He just wanted to let me know that he knew. And once I knew he knew, then I went along with it.
French, really nice. They sent you a letter with a QR code adapted to the Dutch money transfer system so that you don't have to do anything. Just scan the code and you're good.
What happens when you scan the code? Then
You pay
find
the
out your
fine,
bill.
but at least it's easy. You don't have to write a whole lot of crap. It's just done in 2 seconds. You can go on with your life.
Yeah, you can still make it to your appointment on time. Then there's no risk of them finding the drugs in your trunk.
No, but you get the fine 3 months after you got home.
Yeah, it's like, what? I forgot I even did that. Now I have to pay for it.
Yeah, and you can even get it for single occupancy, that you were in the wrong lane. Just being one person in the car. Get your fine. Also, some zones, diesels is not allowed. Stuff like that. It's really complicated, but
It's the only valid excuse for having a sex doll.
yes.
Yeah, I feel like around here, they like to be able to pull people over physically so that they can find those sorts of things so that they can then, like drugs or driving under influence or whatever else it may be, or just to see if you have a bad attitude about being pulled over so that you can be arrested.
Dutch people
or put in
don't
the overtime.
generally don't speak French, so what's the point of pulling them over?
Yeah. That's true. I never really thought about that part. What if you're pulling over someone and now you have to do translations? I thought the Dutch spoke every language. except
Well,
for
they
Easter.
think they do, but it doesn't get understood so well. They're quite good at English, but their German and their French really suck.
That's amazing.
Everyone speaks every language. Just say it slower and more loudly.
Ah, yes. Or say what you understand of their language from TV and movies.
And use gestures as well. I said I was only going to do an hour and 5 minutes past that now. But
Now you've broken the barrier, you've got to go for the next hour.
yeah, 40k now.
That's the rules.
There's a whole lot of noise going on at my house. It's always rough when the ladies get ready at the same time. I mean, there's 2 bathrooms. Somehow they continue to meet and want to use the same thing at the same time.
I mean, I have 2 bathrooms, but there's only 1 hot water boiler, so what's the purpose?
And no ladies.
No, not at the moment. The guy I bought the house from had a wife and 5 daughters, so go figure.
Yeah, wow.
I
That's-
currently only have 1 working bathroom.
That puts mine in perspective. I now feel very good about my situation. Could always be worse. There was a time though when my stepdaughters lived with us that it was 4 females and the cat was the female
Wow.
at the time. Yeah. I was younger then though. I stuck up for myself almost all the time. Now I just tend to, I have selective hearing. It works well.
To be fair, the cat is the worst person in my house. One of the cats just decided it's now no longer going to be an outdoor cat. And
Yeah.
it's now just going to wee and poo in the corner of my room. Very pleasant. It's never had a litter tray. It's always gone outside. And suddenly decided, nope.
Yeah, it's never good. So, does the cat still want to be outside? Is that the idea? And now, or does it just not want to be out there anymore?
I think it's getting beaten up by a local cat, so it doesn't want to go outside.
Okay. So it is coming in looking for shelter. So, I mean, there's nothing worse than making a cat who likes to go outside not go outside. My mom let my cat out once, and the cat did a good job. I mean, like I got home about an hour after she had left, and the cat was just sitting on the deck, just waiting. But then after that, he tried to get out the door every time that I'd go near it. And now he's very concerned about sniffing doors all the time. But it's a rough neighborhood around here for cats, I think. There's a lot of them. And Heidi doesn't want me to let the cat out. I think you'd make a great outdoor cat.
Alright, Owen. Owen says he's going for lunch. Enjoy. I'll be back in about 15 minutes with the Friday ebb anyway when
It's going to be above. It's going to be above 0 down there, but yeah, could be icy.
What's Owen having for lunch?
Well, if I look at this spreadsheet on the Team Camp website or Team Camp chat, it's not having any lunch, I think.
Oh, this is an outdoor track?
No, it's indoors, but it's like in a big old aircraft hangar, so it's just thin metal.
Okay.
It's got like a climbing wall in there and dry ski slope and things like that. But it's set out on a peninsula in the in the kind of harbour.
Mine says, oh, it's weighing weekend.
When it gets
Yeah.
it gets quite a lot of condensation in there. When it gets below freezing, it can get icy on the actual indoor track.
What does
So
that mean?
Is the track metal?
Oh, and does
Or
that mean that
is
your
that
chicken
wood?
salad wrap is just going to be a salad wrap now?
It's a wrap.
All right. So is a chicken salad wrap the same thing as it is here? Is this
Why
going to
wouldn't
be
it
some
be?
sort of a pastry with like jam in it or something? Well,
It's
I
the same
don't know.
thing, but half the size and a third of the calorie.
Yeah, 1/3 the calories. It's probably around about the same. I think.
The work is almost over. Now I just have to try to get through doing 140 for 10 minutes. What a boring workout. Oh yeah, so is the track actually? Oh, okay, right there. No wood track. Okay.
Actually, he needs a comment there. Because at the moment he's saying there's no wood in the track. But
Oh, so it is a metal track. Okay. Who's on first anyway?
Yeah. Threw some beef in the slow cooker yesterday, and a block of cream cheese. So I've got curry cream cheese beef today. And probably tomorrow as well.
I'm tempted to not finish this. Well, I don't think I. Well, yeah, I could finish this and then late join. I don't know.
Stopping in 200 meters.
So I don't even have to finish this workout. It's just, I mean, I've gotten what I need out of it. For some reason, I need to see that stamp of done, though. And I've chopped up this workout plan so much anyway.
Say we need to get Ian to review your plan that you're just not making it up yourself. So I don't feel comfortable about that.
Well,
Hi,
when
everybody.
has that ever backfired?
I'm going to pull the stream down now, get us ready for the Friday ebb. We'll be back in about 10 minutes time. Appreciate you joining. We'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye. Ah.